You're standing on train tracks in the dark. The only light comes from two sources, the rails beneath your feet and the headlights of the oncoming train that is barreling toward you. You know exactly what's coming. You hear its horn and see its lights growing larger. You can even predict the moment it will hit you, give or take a couple seconds or so. Getting out the way is all you want, but on either side of the tracks, there's nothing, just a void, heavy, pitch black uncertainty. The devil you know is bright and roaring. The tracks are dimly lit, while everything else is swallowed in shadow. So what do? We all know this situation. Probably not literally, though I'm sure there might be some exceptions, but we all have experienced it emotionally. Maybe the company you work for is bleeding money, and you notice the subtle fear in your manager's face as they scheduled a meeting between you, them, and HR. Maybe your relationship is cracking as a never-ending series of unresolved arguments pile up. Or perhaps a close friend or family member is slipping back into the same destructive patterns that you swore you'd never put up with again. We all experience these trains. They are visible, measurable, and their existence inevitable. And this visibility is a blessing and a curse. A blessing because it gives you a chance to act, to avoid the train or at least mitigate its impact. The problem is that knowing comes with a price. You know that impact is coming for you. This spoils the present with dread, because now anything relating to this train suddenly has an expiration date stamped on it. A definitive ending has been written. And while some trains cannot be stopped, age, mortality, economic instability, a terminal diagnosis, for these situations, acceptance is the only choice. And in a way, that restriction on that freedom becomes a blessing in itself. Now, imagine a different version of this moment. One where acceptance is not the only option. You still hear the train, still see its headlights looming towards you, but this time there's a crucial difference. A voice in the shadows whispers, "Jump." Someone is down there, and now suddenly there's a chance, however faint, to escape, to influence your own fate, to act, to survive. But there is a problem. While you shouted for more information, the mysterious voice remains silent. So, while you can predict the train by measuring its closing distance using your senses, the jump, you can't quantify that nearly as well. The darkness could conceal solid ground just a few meters away, or maybe it's hiding a cliff that drops into nothing. Or maybe the voice down there actually has sinister intent. This is uncertainty, and in our life, our choices often lead us straight into it. Maybe the company will rethink the layoffs. Maybe ending that relationship now means finding someone better later. Maybe helping one more time will finally save the person you love from their self-destructive actions. However, the truth is you won't know until you commit. Uncertainty is terrifying, and we treat it like a predator aiming to devour us whole if we fail to hide. And sometimes this is justifiable. However, is treating uncertainty as always dangerous correct? Those very shadows may be the only thing capable of saving us from that train. Yet, we do something strange, something irrational. We stay where we are, waiting for that impact. We choose a doomed certainty over a possible victory. Because, of course, at least we know what is coming. The unknown feels worse than disaster. However, think about it logically. One path guarantees devastation. The other holds possibility for survival, growth, and transformation. Certain doom versus possible salvation. When you say it out loud like that, staying on those tracks suddenly sounds like the real madness. The darkness isn't the enemy. It may be the last remaining chance you might have. And here's the truth, at least what I believe to be true. Every good thing you've ever experienced, every relationship, every opportunity, and every version of yourself that you are proud of came from stepping into that darkness at least once. We only call it the unknown until we survive it. Then we call it growth, progress, a turning point, the beginning of a better story. What feels safe about staying on the tracks isn't safety. It just feels familiar, and familiarity is not your friend when a 100-ton locomotive is heading straight for you. Fair should not always mean stop. Fair means you're standing at the edge of possibility. Yes, you might stumble in the dark, you may get bruised, but if you stay where you are, you already know the ending. You deserve a story with a future that you can at least influence. At some point, each of us, I believe, decides, consciously or not, to die certain or live uncertain. The tragedy is that certainty is the default. While taking a leap is immediately terrifying, regret is a delayed horror that only creeps up on you when it's too late to change your mind. So don't wait for the day the train horn becomes deafening and its wheels burn hot across your feet. Move now, jump now. Choose the side of the tracks where the story can still change. Because the greatest tragedy is not getting hit by the train. It's realizing you could have stepped off the tracks the entire time.